So, having had a problem with this autopilot ever since the day we had the boat, refusing to disconnect when you went back to standby and the wheel not being released, and following that, intermittent and then eventually complete failure because it didn't have rudder position. We've used this week's trip to do a bit of maintenance, which included 30 quid spent on getting somebody with a better soldering iron than I've got to reconnect some stuff onto a PCB inside the steering unit, which is an Octopus SD10. Right now it seems to be working. So as Jono 349 owners will know, there's been several of us who've had a really poor ongoing problem with this where it just wouldn't disconnect. So I'm really hoping this has fixed it. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Standby is being selected on the soft key and the wheel is free immediately. Oh, this is fabulous. Putting it back into auto and it's re-engaged. Yeah, that's all nicely working. And now I'm going to go back to standby using the hard key and the wheel is free immediately. What I'm going to do now though is go back into auto, heading hold, and then I'm going to go standby using the autopilot controller. And yes, the wheel is free immediately. I think we got it cracked, guys. To auto-tune the autopilot's engaged at the moment, but let's see what happens when we try and do it. What it should do is tell me to disconnect the autopilot first. If I go to settings, autopilot, so there's no installation. If I now go standby, installation becomes available. Go commissioning, and then it says press standby again to confirm, and then we go into the menu, and then we go auto-tune. Simple as that. There are two parts to setting up the autopilot using the B&G MFD. One's carried out on the dock side, and that's rudder feedback calibration and rudder test. And then there's a second part of C trial, which is auto-tuning using S-turns to adjust the gain rate based on sensed heading change rates. Let's have a look at those in turn. On the dock side, go settings, then autopilot, then installation, commissioning, and that will bring up a box asking you to press the standby button on your autopilot controller panel. Once you've done that, touch OK, and that will open the autopilot commissioning menu, including the dock side and the sea trial sections. Just check your boat type is correct, so sail or motor, and your drive voltage, in this case 12 volts. Then select rudder feedback calibration and follow the instructions given to complete the test. It involves full rudder one way and then the other, and then in the center putting in some values as you go. Then we do the rudder test. Just simply select that and follow the instructions given. The autopilot will then run through a cycle to check that it's working properly. Next we do a sea trial. Find yourself a clear area because the boat will be manoeuvring as part of this test. Go to settings, autopilot, and you might find that installation is greyed out. That's probably because your autopilot's engaged, so using any method, the MFD or the autopilot controller, disconnect the autopilot. That will allow installation to now be selected, and then commissioning. And then again, click the standby button on the AP controller and then select OK. And finally, select Auto Tune and then monitor and keep lookout as the boat does a series of S-turns. And what it's doing here basically is adjusting the rudder gain, fine-tuning it by using the feedback signal from the compass. Once it says it's completed, simply click Close and you're good to go. Hope you found this helpful or interesting. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. See you next time.